So Val, I've been reading Diary of a Provincial Lesbian, which is quite refreshingly amusing. What inspired it?
It was loosely based on E.M. Delafield's book Diary of a Provincial Lady, which was taken from a series of articles she wrote in the 1930s and made into a proper book about 1970, I think. And that was a totally straight book about a woman living in the provinces and her small life, and I'd moved to the provinces, so I decided to try something similar.
I'm Ed Bixter, the editor of Little Bird magazine, which is a new sort of free fanzine type magazine that reflects Liverpool culture. It's got quite a literary twist. The pigeon thing came about because it was the day before I was doing the first interview. I wanted to have something that tied all the articles together, and I was just sitting in Williamson Square, and there were some artists down, and they were drawing people and pigeons and stuff, and I thought, oh, pigeon's probably quite an easy thing to draw, so yeah, just decided a pigeon was a spur of the moment thing, but it's been quite entertaining because the people that we asked to draw pigeons, mostly people just say, well, what does a pigeon look like? And almost the Mopen asked how many legs a pigeon has, which is quite funny. And Jackie Kay drew one that looked a bit like a penguin. So.
I used to live in London. I moved to Hastings about 4 or 5 years ago, and for everybody, lesbian, gay, straight, it's a much quieter life. People have time to be friendly, sometimes importunely so, and there's lots of places for humour to develop, I think. I find almost more so than when I lived in London.
My favourite book is Ruby Fruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown, and I read it when I was first coming out, and I thought it was a really incredibly funny book because around that time there were a lot of gloom and doom books about lesbianism and coming out, and I just thought it was a very light-hearted read.
And I do still have some lesbian partnerships that I know, and they still do play the same roles, where there is one rather anxious person who seems to do the cooking and be very caring, and the rather more buoyant type who supposedly does the DIY. And so there are still people around that mimic the straight stereotype. It's changing, but particularly I think out of London, amongst the older couples, it still remains.
My favourite book is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, just because I read it when I was very young and then didn't really understand it, and then read it again a number of times. I just like the whole story of the life of David Copperfield, really.
My name's Naomi. I attend a Sapphic book club here in Liverpool. We have been meeting in various different places, various pubs around the city, and we just sort of discuss. We don't just discuss gay and lesbian books, but we generally try to have one lesbian book per week and then one other book as well that we all someone will recommend, and then we'll all read and discuss it.
I think it's such a huge opportunity for humour that is ignored. There is the L Word is fabulous viewing. I love it when I watch it. I don't have a television, so I watch it around my friends now and again. But the humour of lesbian lives is huge, and we can all recognise it in the very small things we do. And I think that humour is really taken no notice of and not portrayed in the media at all. It's sometimes derided as sort of lesbian lookalikes in the same anoraks, but it's not done with love and affection.
My name's Mary.
I'm Jo. What are your favourite lesbian or gay reads and why?
One of my favourites is a book by Anne Patchett called The Magician's Assistant, and it's set in America, and it's a very well-written book which has an element of lesbian romance in it, but that's not the main theme. The main theme is sort of families and how families fall apart and about grief, and it's very magical. The main character is a magician's assistant, so it's got all the magic and it's larger-than-life characters. It's very good.
Lesbian or gay read, you said? You know, exactly. I really liked Brokeback Mountain, and I know the movie was great, of course, but it's from a short story, and the short story is from one of my favorite authors, Annie Proulx, and also set in America, and I just thought it was a terrific story that captured a lot it's a short story, actually, so it captured a lot in a very small story. And Magician's Assistant. He stole my.
That's her favourite read.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Virtually every lesbian I know has a cat, and the ones that say they don't like cats, I treat with great suspicion, which is a shame because often they're quite attractive women, and they probably don't want to get fur on their black trousers. So that's what I think of them.